1, 2, 3, 4. Chop, chop, chop.
It's Cure of the What now?
Gather the ingredients.
Cure of the What now?
Not much time to prep before it's time to start the show.
Oh!
Guests are arriving.
Cure of the What now?
Everybody's smiling.
Cure of the What now?
A tasty party starting. Now it's time to go. Woo!
Ooh, served hot and fresh.
Itadakimasu. Hello, fellow ultimate desserts, and welcome to
Cure of the What now? Episode 20.
There you go. Thank you. I was going to be like, I always forget that. This is the one show where we know even the greedy prince needed a swallow to give away his gold. Joel?
He wasn't greedy. He was the selfless prince, wasn't he? Or was he greedy because he wanted to help everyone?
I think so. He was the something prince.
Okay, I don't think he was greedy though. Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to derail you. Are we looking this up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it was greedy either, but I just don't know.
The Golden Prince. The Jewel Prince? Because wasn't he made out of jewels?
It was like foolish or something.
Happy Prince. Rico references the Happy Prince story, in which a golden statue of a prince wants to have himself melted down so all the villagers can become rich. I don't remember the melting down part. I thought he was just made of gold. I'm confused.
They left that part out of the PreCure version. But yeah, that's the whole story. Is at first, like, he gives away his gems on his jacket, but, like, ultimately he gets melted down and destroyed. So
obviously an indictment of socialism, which we will melt everyone down into their core bits and hand out the elements.
Man, this is literally eat the rich, but the rich in this case
wants to be
themselves up. In a wealth banquet.
Would you like some of my juicy flank? I've got it seared to perfection.
So anyway, this is Cure of the What Now. We talk about PreCure mostly.
Cure of the What Now? Yeah.
Not so much politics, sometimes One Piece.
I can give Minecraft updates.
Yeah, absolutely. Would that go into our news and announcements, or?
I think so. I built a house for all of my bees.
That's wonderful. Have you found frogs yet?
No, I have not found frogs yet.
Well, then you're a failure.
Absolutely. Now, who are you?
My name is Kat, and I am a brand new Cure.
Ooh, fantastic. You should transform in front of me so I can be in on your secret. Because I want to help.
My fairy says it's a bad idea.
Oh, no.
Because you might get dragged into the fight.
My name is Joel, co-host of the show.
And you've already dragged yourself into this fight.
It's true. I've already volunteered as tribute.
Shin!
We are full of beans today, folks.
No,
full of beans.
This is a regular amount of beans. We're playing off each other.
So like half full of beans? Quarter full? Half-life quarter way to beanstruction.
I've changed my assessment of the situation. We are in fact full of beans. Who are you actually going to be before I interrupted?
Well, I don't know.
Oh god, I've given you an identity crisis.
I was going to be I'm the class president who's here to save everyone from any situation, and my catchphrase is Doki Doki.
Oh dear. Okay, I'm really excited.
Oh wait, also you're my sweetheart.
No. Okay, let's actually get into the episode so that I can go into the things that I liked about our first Doki Doki experience and the things that maybe I was a little concerned about. We don't have any news and announcements this week. Actually, that's a lie. We do have an announcement. The Delicious Party movie trailer is out. Yes, absolutely. Go ahead and watch it. The version that was shared with us did not have any subtitles. I'm sure someone has already done a fan sub or their own in-house, their own kind of like maybe amateur subtitles or something. And yeah. It looks like it should be really cute. It has the pretty standard PreCure movie hook of they go to a special magic amusement park and then bad things happen. Like, you can see a food amusement park in the trailer. I do wonder how many movies, now that I'm thinking about it, don't have going to an alternate amusement park. That's an exercise best left either to our viewers, listeners, or to us off mic. Now is not the proper time to go through that. Absolutely. And then I think, in addition to the movie coming out later, it's coming out in September, I believe. I think so. I think you had an announcement.
Yes, that's right. I am hard at work at editing our very first video for the podcast that will actually have a visual to go along with it, not just a podcast format. So what Catherine and I decided to do now that we have finished... What did we just finish? Sweet PreCure. We did a ranking video of all seasons that we have finished watching.
So quickly does the foolish heart of man forget his gods.
Oh man, it's even the goddess of music is in that one. So I don't know if we're going to do one every year. I don't know if we're going to do one when we finish all current series. But yeah, we now have an official ranking of all the videos that people can refer to if they go like, man, they don't seem to be talking very positively about my favorite PreCure season, PreCure Dino Farts, and it's like, well, watch this video in which we explain our problem with the secondary characters who really dragged the pacing down.
If we got a dinosaur-themed PreCure team, I think I would die of happiness.
I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Like, they've done so many dinosaur Sentai teams. Could girls please have dinosaurs one time?
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to be a magical girl show that has dinosaurs as a theme. We'll have to ask AU and see what they say.
Magical girl Ayumi, please tell me. Where can I find the magical girl dinosaur combo? Here's a discussion topic for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is Barney the dinosaur a magical girl? Him himself?
No, there's no transformation involved.
He transforms. He transforms from a stuffed animal into a giant magical talking dinosaur.
So he's a movie exclusive fairy cure.
Oh, you're right. Yes. Okay. That was a short discussion question. I like.
Oh my gosh.
We can do a longer one if you want.
I think we should do a little bit of a longer one. You know what we've been watching lately. We just watched the season finale for, even though I think it came out some time ago. We've been watching Spy X Family. So in that vein, can you think of a funny way to do PreCure and spies? Wait, have we already asked this one?
We've done this one. We did a spy versus spy thing.
Okay, but this time we can focus more on the comedy. We could have them with a bunch of mismatched powers.
Yes. You know what? I think that in this season of PreCure that we're pitching right here, the main cures would be two PreCure from opposite countries.
Okay.
Kind of like how in Spy versus Family, you've got the East Alice versus West Alice.
Okay.
And they would constantly be doing things to try to mess with each other's plans, but then also they would be fighting the bad guys when they show up.
Okay, we got yet another Lupin Ranger versus Pato Ranger kind of situation going on here.
Yes, each one of them thinks that the other country is responsible for the monsters.
Oh, okay. I like that. See, with Spy Family, and this is all stuff in the very first episode, so I don't consider it spoilers, but you have Anya, who is an orphan who gets adopted by the main character, and she has mind-reading abilities, and the main male character is secretly a spy trying to save the world, and the female main adult character who is in a fake relationship with him and pretending to be his wife, she is an assassin. So I think that with the cures, maybe the fairy could read minds. But I don't know. See, in Anya's case, she can't share secrets because she doesn't want the family to break up. So maybe the fairy is aware. That's it. There's two girls who are best friends in their civilian forms, but in their PreCure forms, they for some reason don't get along, or vice versa. There's a duality here, and the fairy's aware, but the fairy can't tell them because that would cause conflict.
So what you're proposing here is just Miraculous Ladybug.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of Miraculous Ladybug mix in there, absolutely.
Yeah. Are they French petite fromage?
I thought you were going to say frenemies, and I was like, no, they're fruvers. Oh, wait, no, that would be friends and lovers, so I guess it would be more like enavers. Love-emies? I don't know.
Oh, man.
This has gone terribly wrong.
The PreCure enemies to girlfriends pipeline is real. Which actually is a really good segue into the episodes we watched this week.
Absolutely. Would you like me to give all of the succinct summaries?
Yeah, hit me with all of them.
So really quick, before I get into the succinct summaries, there's actually one episode that I can't succinctly summarize. We promised to watch 2 episodes of Max Heart. We were worried we weren't going to have enough time to watch both of them together. So what we did is we divided and conquered. Catherine watched episode 18, and I basically saw none of it. And then at a later time, when Catherine was busy with the dog and the chores and such, I was watching my episode. So Catherine, can you tell me what happened in episode 18 of Max Heart?
Absolutely, I can. Let me read you what I just pasted into my notes. I scrolled all the way back to our Facebook conversation, and I copied it and I pasted it. Here's what I just pressed paste on. Heat a tablespoon of olive oil in a pan until shimmering. That's not the episode. That's a recipe for chicken and dumplings. Here is the episode. All right. Succinct summary, Max Heart 18. The Antichrist wants to go outside. The Zakenna butlers are in favor. The rest of the generals are like, no, he's too precious. The gang goes camping. Amane just happens to be camping where the gang is camping. So, well, she's not even camping. She's just got her truck. Meppel is excited to sleep alone in a tent with Mipple, but then Paulun shows up and Paulun says no shenanigans, and Meppel gets kicked out of the tent and has to shiver outside in the cold.
The old child interrupts kissy time.
Yes,
trope.
Exactly, yes. Chudoro runs away to fight evil, which is why you should always leash your dog. The gang, chasing Chudoro, finds an illegal trash dump, and Oreganos is there for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why. There's no reason for him to be there. He just was. They didn't even do the you know how sometimes you see the bad guys and they're talking, and then he's like, I'm gonna go beat the PreCure. They didn't do that.
Okay.
He was just there.
They were too busy focusing on the Antichrist wanting to go outside and touch grass.
Exactly. And then at the end of the diary, Intelligent gives each of them a...
I'm keeping that in.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
At the end of the episode, Intelligent gives each of them a diary, so their hearts will be together as one no matter where they are.
Wait, I've heard this before. I've literally heard this before. There was an episode of Futari Wall where they did this.
Are you telling me Toei is ripping off Toei?
Oh my gosh. How deep does this go? How many levels of Toei copyright infringement is going on here?
But they each get an epithet as they're handed these diaries. So Intelligent tells Honoka she is the legendary warrior with the power of intelligence. Nagisa is the legendary warrior with the power of courage, which I don't think Intelligent has been watching the same show that we have. Well, we could talk about it. But then Hikari doesn't really get a title. Intelligent just says, never lose that kind heart toward everyone.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
And then she gets to the box.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. Are you trying to trigger me?
Am I trying to trigger you? No, no, ma'am. I'm just trying to find a thematic connection between these different series.
I feel pretty activated right now, I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Oh, so you're like charcoal.
Don't eat me if you're on medication.
Yeah,
Listen,
no one eat charcoal at all for any reason.
Public service announcement, okay? Black desserts made with charcoal look really cool, and if you're not on any medications, that's fine. But if you are on medications, the whole point of charcoal is that it absorbs stuff. It will mess with your birth control. It will mess with antipsychotics. It will mess with antidepressants. Please don't eat charcoal, whether it's for the aesthetic or because someone on TikTok told you it would detox your body. You have a liver, you have kidneys, and if those things aren't working, go to a doctor. And that's been your succinct summary for Max Heart 18.
I do want to say also, if the charcoal can absorb your psychotic medication and whatnot, then obviously this is going to be a plot device in Joker 2, which has been confirmed to be a musical, and Lady Gaga is in talks to play Harley Quinn. I am not making this up. Anyways.
PreCure content!
So, Max Heart, episode 19, we're going to play a game.
Okay.
Now,
first,
what?
I have to ask the question. Because it's a meme. What happened in Max Heart 19?
Nothing. But if you want... Here's the thing. I don't want to tell you, my beloved host, that nothing happened, and then we get to episode 20, and you're like... I think I need to give you some more information just because you weren't part of the experience. If you watched it yourself, you would know how much I was exaggerating when I said nothing.
Okay, and so to get to the information, we have to play a game.
We have to play a Mad Lib. I need you to name 3 characters. They don't have to be from Max Heart because honestly that would be funnier, but they do have to be from PreCure.
Okay. Rosemary.
Mary Chan?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Manatsu.
Okay.
And Haruka.
Haruka. Okay. Haruka Haruno, the future princess. And now I need an adjective.
Fluffy.
Okay. So, in Max Heart 19, Mary Chan thinks their family might be moving away and wants to tell Manatsu. Haruka overhears Mari Chan trying to figure out how to break the news and decides to try and help with the communication problem that is occurring. It was all a misunderstanding, and we find out that Mary Chan is not moving. Also, Haruka might be growing more fluffy. Is it because of strong feelings or natural progression? Who cares? Who knows?
Well, I can tell you for a fact that our Aussie has grown considerably more fluffy in the last couple months, and that is because she is growing in strength.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
And
absolutely.
Aussie's strength is directly proportional to its fluff.
Oh my gosh, Millie is like the queen of all Aussies. All right. For anyone who pays attention to pet names, Millie is another Aussie that lives with my mom, but I got her in high school, and so she's my dog.
She's a good dog.
She's a very good dog. All right. Now, with all of these games and fun times out of the way, I can summarize succinctly Delicious Party and Doki Doki and Glitter Force. In Delicious Party, Amane's like, look, I can't be present because I did a bunch of bad stuff. And the other girls are like, listen, we've watched previous seasons of PreCure. You need to get out of your own butt. She goes, never. And then
she does. That's exactly how she responds.
And then Narcistoru shows up, and he's been watching Kira PreCure all the mode, longest PreCure series title ever, because he lets Maze the two uzabaos together.
He does. Let's la Maze.
And it manages to steal Amane. So the first half of the battle is the three girls trying to rescue Amane, and then as Yui and Amane are having a heart-to-heart, still Amane is still in the ubazao's glove. She realizes that she made a promise a long time ago to the parfait recipe who still doesn't have a name, so I'm just gonna go with Frank. But she made a promise with Frank that she would try to bring smiles to everyone, and of course punching an evil vampire scientist man who's trying to take away people's smiles is the best way to achieve that. So she transforms, the crystal Hoka Hoka turns into her transformation item. I have it written down, but not in front of me. That's awesome. But she uses that to transform into Cure Finale, not Parfait. She's associated with parfaits, but there's already a Cure Parfait. She becomes Cure Finale and saves the day, and that's where the episode ends. Like, I literally think that the end of the battle is when the episode just goes to credits. Oh no! No, I forgot to look at our notes. Oh no.
What did you miss?
Okay, so for the Doki Doki, I was going to do a really funny succinct summary. I'm sorry. Editor Joel put this in. It's not gonna edit well, but tell me if you've heard this one before. A bear, a dog, and a bunny are on a quest to give some girls superpowers, and their first outing, they find the student council president who fights a crab monster trying to do an attack on the Eiffel Tower of Japan.
Yeah, isn't this that famous story that inspired Dragon Ball Z? Isn't this Journey to the West?
It absolutely... Oh my gosh, is it? No, I think it's a monkey. It's a monkey, a dog, and I'm sorry.
And a bird.
And a bird.
I just thought it would make you laugh.
Absolutely. It did. Fantastic. In Doki Doki Episode 1, and actually this is the same as in Glitter Force, so in our discussion we'll talk about differences and whatever, but in the first episodes match pretty closely. But we meet a girl named Mana. She has pink hair. She's the ultimate student council president. Or is she school president?
I
think they're the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay. She's the ultimate school president, so the first thing we see her do is finding a guy's wallet when he lost it, making two rival gangs stop fighting with each other and instead befriend her, and she helps a girl who collapsed on the bus, recover by putting her under some shade and giving her like an ice pack for her head. So this is just Mana's character. She's just going constantly. We meet another character whose hair is not brown, in fact. Her hair is blue and knows Mana. Very interesting. Rika is the voice of reason who's like, you can't just keep pushing yourself. And Mana says, I'm gonna do it anyways. Mana befriends a child and shows this child a trick where you trace a heart on your hand, and that's like a good luck charm. And shortly after they do that, the child is reunited with their mother, who was 2 feet away the whole time. So that charm is really powerful. It can warp mothers to your location.
Hot moms in your area.
I forgot to mention this is all on a field trip to a place called Yotsuba Tower, which is a really tall, like, Eiffel Tower looking monument, and they want to go to the top. One person in line, I don't think it's a classmate, is like, I could just cut and get to the top of the line sooner, but I'd rather not. And we see a zoom in on his heart, like it's an episode of House MD or something, and a little black splotch kind of appears, but then he's like, no, I better not cut it. It shrinks again. But then a little boy, voiced by none other than Monkey D. Luffy, shows up. The king of the pirates. And he says, you should go, aren't you tired of being nice? You should rampage. Rips the dude's heart out of his chest and transforms it into the monster of the week, which is a crab monster that wants to cut.
The monsters of the week for this show are called Selfishes.
Selfishes or
Disdains.
Disdains. I like that name a little bit better, but I mean, I guess they're both adjectives. I was about to say one's a name and one's like a weird, but they're both weird. Anyways, she goes up and she tries to rescue the little girl from earlier from the crab. Also, she got a heart charm. I forgot to mention that. There's a girl named Makoto. Just it's irrelevant. She saves the girl, tries to reason with the crab monster. It doesn't work. She's saved by this mysterious warrior lady who can do like ballerina flips and all that stuff. Is told by a magic talking bunny that she can transform into a PreCure, but it fails for some reason. But then this lady who showed up, who I believe is Cure Sword, defeats the crab monster, and that's where the first episode ends. In the second episode, she goes down the tower. Our girl does. No, wait.
Forgot about the second crab.
I forgot there's always a second crab hiding in the shadow of the first. So there's the little boy whose name is Ira. I shouldn't call him little boy. That'd be weird. But there's two evil generals in this episode. There's a younger boy, and then there is a young woman, because you always have one sexy lady in every evil general group. And what she did is she summoned a second, potentially bigger crab. I'm not clear on that. But this crab sneak attacks and gets Sword. And is going to kill Sword. But Mana decides to try to save her anyways, and she's finally able to transform, and she becomes Cure Heart, and she defeats the bad guy, and she's like, hey, purple sword girl, do you want to be my friend? And she goes, I don't have any friends. I only play Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06, and I stand Silver the Hedgehog, and she runs off, and we're like, okay, what was that all about? Okay. But Mana transforms back into Mana. She goes down the tower, and Rika's there. And she goes, Rika, I just transformed into a superhero. And Rika goes, I don't believe you. You've never lied to me, but I don't believe you. And Mana goes, oh, man. So she decides she's going to tell Rika that night. But then her fairy named Cheru, or just Cher, is all like, hey, you can't tell her because she might get dragged into battle. So Mana's like, I won't tell my best friend about my secret, even though it's hurting me on the inside. And Rika tells a story about the Happy Prince. That's right. We figured out it was the Happy Prince. And how Mana can't help everyone. She'll spread herself too thin. She needs help. And Rika decides that she wants to be Mana's swallow, which is very funny to a 13-year-old watching that, and the 13-year-old that I have trapped inside my brain, you know?
Thank God you said in your brain.
No, I reserve the basement for other things that I've captured. That's where I keep all the Funko Pops that I've beheaded. And I've just scattered their bones across the floor.
Every time you get angry, you just go down and you pull off the head of another one.
They're just so ugly. I hate them. Okay, I'm sorry. So, basically, Rika wants to help, and Mana's like, I can't ask you for help. But then eventually she goes, you know what, Rika? You're all right. I'm going to tell you my secret. And she transforms into a PreCure in front of Rika. It's kind of hard for Rika to not believe her this time. And then they save the day, and that's the end of the second episode.
Rika does try. She does try to be like, I don't believe
Yeah, she's like, this. I must be dreaming, but what is this? But, like, it's hard to see something like that and not think that it's real unless you can, like, check yourself for, like, drugs that, like, got inserted without you knowing, you know, like a needle or something. But nope. This is totally happening, and now she's in on the secret, and that's been your Succinct Summary! Not very succinct this week, and I apologize.
That's okay. Mine wasn't succinct either. I kind of gave you a play-by-play of the whole episode. What do you want to talk about first?
I want to talk about Doki Doki first. Doki Doki is so good.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
We have already covered episode 1 in a previous episode, and if editor Joel can figure out how to work the YouTubes, there should be a link on the screen right about now, taking you over to that. But Mana's good. Mana's just like the perfect, she's the peak pink PreCure.
I love her so much, and I love her relationship with Rika.
Yes.
You know, like I don't want to spoil too much of our PreCure ranking discussion for our fans, but there's a show where you really, really like the duo, and that's how I feel about these two. Like, they're such a good duo.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been best friends. I believe that we see that they're neighbors in the second episode. They've known each other for 10 years. Did I say that already? I think I did. They have complementary hair colors. It's pretty good.
No, it's PreCure.
Absolutely. I do find it interesting, and I mean, these shows aren't really subtle, as we've discussed many times before, but, like, the only 4 characters that we meet in this episode who have, like, different colored hair are pink and blue and yellow and purple, and we don't see, we don't know 100%, except we know who it is 100%, but, you know, there's a purple Cure, who is probably the purple-haired girl, the celebrity, and then the 3 fairies who are looking for PreCure are also pink, yellow, and blue. Huh. How about that?
The purple PreCure, who already exists, has a purple cat, and I think that is Cash Money.
It's funny because, you know, a lot of the fairies end their sentences with different sounds. So, like, Mipple and Mepple were Meppu and Mippu or whatever. And before these characters had given their names to us, they're talking to each other, and you can tell that one of them ends their sentences with, like, Shararu, so, like, sharing, like, with your feelings or what you might do with your last piece of cake or something like that.
And one of them ends their sentences in something that sounded like care.
Yeah, like Kararu or something like that.
Going to be.
Yes, so the pink bunny is named Shararu. The other 2 are named Lance and Raquel. Like, I wish they all had, like, in Delicious Party, Kome and Mem and Pam. Their names fit like a theme.
Lance and Raquel is a couple that you'd meet at the country club who would tell you that you can't bring your nephew back because they felt he was engaging in ungolfman-like behavior.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, you know what I think? Lance and Raquel are like the knockoff. You've seen those toys that come from across the seas, and they got the English translation wrong. It's clearly Batman, but it's labeled like Superman or whatever. Raquel and Lance are that, but for friends. They're 2 of the 6 friends that are bootlegs from another country.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Oh, man. Before we move on to talk about anything else, I do also need to point out, it's very important that the first episode starts with the character we now know as Cure Sword fighting some monsters. There's a gorilla, squid or octopus, pretty sure it's a squid, and a bat or a bird
vulture.
thing. Vulture, that's right. And she sees like this evil demon looking thing in the background. I couldn't tell if it was a creature or a building, but she's like, oh no, I've lost everything, or all this fighting, it couldn't have ended like this. And I was under the impression that it might have been like a flash forward to the future. I believe that you got something similar in Madoka Magica, but when I rewatched it to get the screenshots, I realized, no, dummy, that's the fairy kingdom. She's the last survivor, and that's why she doesn't want any friends, and she kins Shadow the Hedgehog.
Haha, Joel, is the Madoka Magica a flash to the future or the past? It's
because of how it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Spoilers for Madoka. Go watch Madoka if you haven't. Why are you even sitting here listening to us if you haven't seen Madoka yet?
Well, yeah. Absolutely.
Anyway.
And what are you doing going around spoiling stuff like that for? I mean, I guess technically no one would know it was a spoiler until you said that it was a spoiler.
Listen, here's the thing. You can bleep it out. You can put whatever spoiler warnings you want in the episode description. I'm just saying, Madoka Magica came out in 2006.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the 10-year... I thought you were trying to make some point about how, like, Doki Doki came out in 2004, and I was like, how should I know when Doki Doki came out? But you're talking about the spoiler memorandum or whatever.
Yes.
It's called moratorium.
One other thing I wanted to note that you didn't mention in your succinct summary, Mana is best friends with everyone, because that's just what
she literally, I mentioned that there was a gang fight, and she literally befriends the leader of one of the gangs so hard that they decide to stop being violent.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the characters we see in the opening is this girl with blonde hair. Turns out she is Mana's best friend. Mana, after she has said something to someone about, like, the longer we wait in line, the more we'll appreciate the experience, moves ahead, and this girl shows up in her limo, and she gets in line, and they're like, ma'am, why are you getting in line? You own this tower. And she says, well, my good friend Mana always says the longer you wait for something, the more special it will be. So I enjoyed that. In Glitter Force, they cut out the part where Mana says that.
Yeah, but she does still say, as my friend said, but I do think having seen Mana say it makes it more impactful than just saying, off screen, this is what Mana said.
Yes. I also want to shout out, the fight in the first episode was so cool.
It is.
Like, she just beat the crud out of that shellfish.
She did. She absolutely did.
And she lectured it. She lectured a giant crab.
One of the funniest things, Shararu goes up to Mana and says, like, hey, do you want to fight that monster? I can help you transform. And the other two, Raquel and Lance, are like, there's no way Mana's gonna be okay with this. Mana just freaking shakes this fairy's hand and is like, all right, teach me how to transform. Mana, she's just the reincarnation of someone who's already gone through this. Like, she already knows, like, oh, episode 13, time for me to get a power up. Episode 14, we're going into the mountains so we can learn a new combo attack, guys. Like, she just knows.
She just knows. She's genre aware.
Yes.
So, I have a question for you. Do you have a deep interpersonal kinship with Mana? Because in this first episode, everyone comments on how loud she is.
Excuse me?
Well, no, I didn't mean that as a negative. I just meant your whole life people have been like, wow, man, you're a little loud. And Mana is extremely loud.
I'm not pure enough to be Mana. None of us are pure enough for Mana. We are all sinners.
Except for Rika. And her dumb little dance.
And her dumb little dance, which we'll get to eventually. Absolutely. I forgot to mention in our the succinct summary, could you explain why it is that there's 3 words that I could say that just instantly sends you into a rage? My sweetheart.
Yeah, okay. So, like Joel mentioned, Makoto, or Cure Sword, she shows up in her human form. We assume it's Cure Sword.
She has a pin in her hair that Mana finds and gives back to her. And Mana later in the episode gets a pin that matches it exactly, and that pin's the one that allows her to transform into a PreCure. So they're either doing a really good fake out, or they're telling you this girl is Cure Sword.
Right. So this girl has this pin, and Mana sees it, and it's a whole thing. And then later she's walking and she sees a guy with a cart with some jewelry on it. Like, you know how when you're in the mall, they've got those center kiosks where the people are like really aggressively trying to get your attention?
Yeah.
It's like one of those. And she sees a pin that matches Makoto's. And she's like, oh my gosh, I need this pin. We're besties. And the guy is like, it looks really good on you. You should keep it. And she's like, I can't keep it. That's weird.
Also, when she touches it, she gets like a weird, like, I want to call it a vision, but it's unclear if it actually happens or not. But like, she gets like kind of like weirded out and there's like a pin of light that like goes into her heart.
Would you say she gets a heart blast?
I guess so, yeah,
She's
absolutely.
voiced by Jimmy Neutron.
Oh yeah, in the Glitter Force version. I totally forgot.
But anyway, she argues with this guy for a second about whether or not she can take the pin for free, but then Rika is like, we have to go, and pulls her away. So she's like, bye, thank you. Mm-hmm. And as she's walking away, this guy goes, think nothing of it, my sweetheart.
In like English, right? It's not like he says it and that's what the subtitle says. He says, my sweetheart.
And I found that immensely creepy. Joel did not find it creepy.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I heard him say, my sweetheart, and my first reaction was, ew. Because he's not like their age. This isn't like a Black Pepper situation from Delicious where he's about the same age as them or same grade. This is a grown-ass man who gave a minor character, like a minor, some jewelry for free, said it looked good on her, and then called her sweetheart. So my first reaction was, ugh. But obviously this is the sage wizard guy, and so I am able to explain it a little bit and say, maybe what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that, like, she has, like, a pure heart. Maybe they just picked a word that has connotations in English that maybe they don't see it as having in Japanese.
It could be, yeah. And I mean, like, I work with a lot of kids and younger people, and I call people sweetie or sweetheart all the time, but there was just something about, like, the kind of whispery way he said it.
It's the possessive my sweetheart, not take care, sweetheart, my sweetheart.
Right. And then on top of that, you and I talked a little bit off mic, but PreCure in other seasons has had an issue with adult men having romantic intentions or interactions with these underage girls. And that is just not something I'm comfortable with, personally. I'm drawing a line in the sand. And, like, it doesn't ruin the show for me, but it is something where I'm going to be like, hey, maybe we could not next season, Toei.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see if this character shows up again. I mean, obviously, yes, for the other two girls. But we'll have to see, like, what his role in the larger scheme is, and if sweetheart is, like, the activation phrase for the double agent cures out there. But, yeah, I wanted to draw special attention to that, since I'm going to constantly be making fun of my sweetheart. And if we don't explain our thoughts on that scene, then people might not understand.
Yes. Glitter Force did censor that.
They didn't include the line, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't call her his sweetheart in the Glitter Force version. Glitter Force also censored Cure Sword's name. She's now Glitter Flash.
That's right, yeah. They changed the rich girl with the parasol, which we didn't mention the parasol, but it's important. The parasol is the secret fifth cure for this season. But, you know, she shows up and her name is Alice Yotsuba. Yotsuba is a Japanese-sounding last name, and I believe it refers to the four-leaf clover, which is why it's in this, and it's also the name of the town in Sweet for the same reason. But in the Glitter Force version, they changed her name to Clara, and like Alice is a perfectly normal American English name. Like I don't know why they changed that at all. Makoto, who is the name of the purple girl, which is hilarious because Makoto Naegi obviously is the ultimate lucky student from the first Danganronpa. But her name is like Mackenzie Mack or something.
She's actually my favorite of the Anglicized names.
Of the Glitter Force names, whatever, yeah. And then Rika, that makes sense. I think she gets changed to, like, Rachel or something.
Mm-hmm. I made a joke while we were watching about, like, yes, Rachel is our Jewish cure. And you were like, is Rachel a Jewish name? It is, yes.
Listen, I know some about Judaism and Jewish culture, mostly from my school explaining like what the dreidel is and what Hanukkah is. Those are like the only two things I really knew before I met you. Now I know a couple of things, but not much.
That's fair. I wouldn't say it's as mainstream as some of the other religions that exist, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not as populous in that sense. I love... Not to abruptly switch lanes, but I am abruptly switching lanes. I love the design of the heart being taken over by darkness. I love how it gets the little wings after it's gotten purified. It's so good. This might be my favorite kind of, I guess motif is the right word, for the monsters of the week that I've seen in PreCure so far, I think.
You know what I like about the heart getting wings?
What's that?
Pure thoughts and selflessness make your heart feel light. Like it can fly.
That's incredible. It also reminds me incredibly of the card art for Change of Heart from Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is a card that lets you switch whatever, and Bakura uses it in Season 1 to turn friends into enemies and enemies into friends. And so...
He uses cards on people?
Bakura pretends that he's a normal person, but he has one of the Millennium items. They go camping in an episode, and he asks everyone what their favorite card is. They all pass out like they got roofied, but I'm pretty sure it was magic. And when they wake up, they are the cards that they said were their favorite. And this is when Bakura reveals that he's evil, and his favorite card was Change of Heart, which he used to make, like, I think Tristan turn to the other side. But then the power of friendship prevailed. And they saved the day.
But save the line.
This is not a Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast.
No, this is a PreCure podcast. I want to ask, what do you think of the designs of the fairies this season?
They're cute. They're very single color. I feel as though you get more varied colors in later seasons in other PreCures and other fairies. They seem all right.
There's something about the dog, the blue one, Raquel, that just does not sit right with me.
I look at Lance, the yellow bear, and I go, that is a cutie. but it's almost like it's specifically designed to be cute. It's like Clefairy from Pokemon. Like, Clefairy's kind of cool, but the longer I look at it, the more I go, someone specifically designed this to appeal to girls.
I feel like they tried to do something with these fairies that they later succeeded at doing with the Heal and Good fairies.
Okay, sure.
The Heal and Good fairies are like the revised design, the finished product.
Absolutely. Let's see, what else do we have?
Oh, we were talking about Glitter Force censorship.
Yes,
we got
the
distracted.
differences.
Glitter Force, so episode 1 and episode 1 pretty much line up beat for beat. They moved some scenes around, particularly when Mana is running around helping everybody, which I thought was interesting. Like, why do the scenes need to get moved around? Generally, they're pretty much the same. They cut a lot of the fight, which is a bummer because I really liked the fight. I thought it was extremely well done. Again, though, I get it. They have a very specific audience they're going for.
A lot more snark as well. Like, I grew up with 4Kids, if no one's familiar with that. Saturday morning cartoons that were all deemed too inappropriate for children. They took guns out of Yu-Gi-Oh! And said they had the guards point with their fingers and stuff like that. Instead of people dying when they lost card games, which I admit is kind of dark. I don't know if I'd want my, 10-year-old watching something like that, although they'd probably be old enough to handle it. But they got sent to the Shadow Realm instead, that sort of thing. But one thing that I didn't notice as a kid is just how much snark they have. There was a Digimon episode where someone had their Digimon evolve and they used a fire attack and someone went, "Stop, you're making me want to barbecue." And to this day, that sticks us out as like the weirdest line in any show. And they had that in this. They had all sorts of characters just like, as they were running for their life, they were like, "Oh my gosh, didn't think I was going to get my cardio today. Shut up, Mana," whose name has been changed to, what is she? Mayu or something like Maya. Gosh dang, that upsets me.
It does. Although, I will say, I have a friend whose daughter is named Maya, and she was so excited that she had found Glitter Force because it's so much like that show that you guys podcast about. And I was like, oh, I can do you one better. It is the show that we guys podcast about.
Yes, so I think I've mentioned this before, but Glitter Force has been, it's removed some episodes and it's squished some episodes together, and I actually found out the reason for that is because when they wanted to air on Nickelodeon only allowed seasons to have 20 episodes. So for the previous season, Smile, they broke it down to 40 episodes so they could get 2 seasons. I don't know why they cut so much out of Doki Doki, because they got it squished down to 30, which would still be too much if they changed if they stuck to the same number of episodes per season. But we will be covering the Glitter Force episodes as they occur, and episode 2 of Glitter Force apparently contains stuff from episode 3 of Doki Doki. That's why we're not covering it this week.
Exactly. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I want to know if voice acting has improved. Like, okay, if I were a 30-year-old Japanese person,
yes,
watching PreCure, would I feel the same about the voice acting that I, an American adult, feel watching the English voice acting for Glitter Force? Because
it's cringe to use the terms the kids are using.
Yeah, well, and like I feel bad saying negative things about it because, voice actors work hard and they do good work. We mentioned that Maya is played by Jimmy Neutron, which is hilarious to me, but I liked Jimmy Neutron's voice acting when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So I can't tell if I just have this bias where, like, the Japanese version just sounds better, or if it actually sounds better and they didn't go out of their way to do, really quality voice acting because this is just a kid's show.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. In One Piece, there's a particular scene where the main character Luffy looks like he's about to lose, and he gets himself back up and he lets out like a scream. He's like, "Ah!" And I saw that scene originally in Japanese first, and then eventually I watched the dub, and I went like, okay, the English voice actor is clearly trying, but it just doesn't hit quite as hard. But in My Hero Season 1, in the season finale, there's a big fight that happens, and there's a big speech that a character gives, and I heard that one originally in English, and I went, this goes so hard, and it sounds good in Japanese as well, but I wonder if it's something like that, where because we watched Doki Doki first, and then we watched the version, but it's also probably, I'm assuming that kid shows don't require as much diverse talent as if they were doing I don't know.
Attack on Titan.
Like an adult series that tackles mental health and growing apart from your family and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. The other thing I think when I'm sitting here pondering, like, what is the difference between, Glitter Force and the Saturday morning anime translations we grew up with versus the English dubs of today, I think that it's the exaggeration in volume and emotion. Like, these characters emotionally are just all over the place.
I'd agree with that.
In a way that doesn't feel true to the spirit of the original or the situation that the characters are actually in.
Yeah, I could see that. The one thing I will say that I remember from the Glitter Force version is anytime Maya/Mana screamed, that seemed like a legitimate, excited, 13-year-old girl screaming because, that's her favorite celebrity or because there's a 50% off sale or whatever the case may be. I feel like there were a couple of times she screamed.
Absolutely. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going through this. There were a few jokes that genuinely made me laugh in the Glitter Force version.
I was going up, the only one I remember you laughing at specifically was Maya the Selfish shows up and takes out the elevator, and Mana decides that she's going to go up the stairs. And in the Glitter Force version, she gets about halfway and she gets a little discouraged, and she does in the original version too. But she says, "Why does the top have to be at the top?" That one was pretty good. I did like that one, I will admit.
She definitely seemed a little more head empty in the Glitter Force version.
Yeah, a little bit. Oh, you know who else was head empty? Alice seeing the giant selfish crab, or just taint, running around, and she says to her butler, whose name is Sebastian, she goes, "Do you think we could keep that crab as a pet?" And in both versions, he's basically like, no. But like in the Japanese version, he's very like, "Madam, I think that would be a bad choice." And in the dub, it was more like, "Ha, you stupid child." Like it was a little bit more dismissive. Like, "Oh, you're so funny, Alice." No.
Yeah, well, and in the original, she said, "Sebastian, let's take him home and raise him as our own." And he's like, "Let's not, ma'am." And then in the Glitter Force version, she says, "I'm allergic to shellfish, but don't you think he'd make a great pet?"
Oh man, this season is going to be so good. I assume, based off of previous patterns, that next episode will be the episode where Rika gets her power. Do you think... So, Mana's thing seems to be, I want to help people. Like, is it going to be the same thing, or is it going to be something slightly different?
I think Rika's thing is going to be, I want to help Mana.
Okay.
And she just wants to help Mana so much that is enough selflessness to give her PreCure powers.
Okay.
What if the rich girl, the way that she gets to be PreCure, is she decides she's going to dismantle her family's empire to redistribute the wealth to the masses?
No. There's no way that a kid show would do something like that. Yeah, especially since we've seen other seasons where people are like the heiress to their family's organizations. The organizations are always hardworking individuals, and the kid is the one who's going to make it even better. I know you're being flippant, I'm sorry, but I assume that Alice is going to want to protect the Yotsuba theme park or something, and that's what's going to be her moment of selflessness. Maybe she'll throw herself in danger because her life is less important than the memories the children can make on the Ferris wheel or whatever.
I am actually really excited or interested in this Yellow Cure just because we've had heiress characters before, and they're usually the very, like, upright, proper young ladies, and this one kind of... She seems a little less like that. Like, she seems kind of like a normal kid. And she has people around her who are like, "You have status, ma'am." And she's like, "That's okay." Yeah,
absolutely. Very much like the humble princess kind of character that you see in some media. I'm curious, I assume so, but I wonder if Alice and Rika know each other, just because... we only see Alice on her own in this. I mean, she's with Sebastian, but we don't see her interact with Rika or Mana. Rika and Mana have known each other for 10 years, so did Mana used to live near where Alice lives, and they went to the same, like, preschool or something, and then she had to move closer to Rika, and then she and Rika became friends? Does she still, like, stay in touch with Alice via, like, email or pen pals? It'd be kind of interesting if, for like half a second, if Rika and Alice didn't quite get along, and then Mana's like, no, you two shake and make nice. You're both my friends. You're both my best friends.
I like that.
Also, yeah. Makoto, also my best friend. Once she gets past her sourpussness.
I want to talk about Makoto for a second. So, Makoto is probably Cure Sword. However, the bad guys indicated to Cure Sword that they were looking for a princess, and I think it could be interesting if Makoto is the princess and Cure Sword is, like, her twin or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It would certainly explain, because, like, in the mid-card and in the opening, we see a girl with short, purple, lavender, whatever color you want to call it, hair. So I have no idea how they would explain it unless it was like identical twins or clone or magic mirror type of explanation.
Absolutely. So we've been talking for almost an hour, and we have 2 other shows to cover, and it's past my bedtime. So are you ready to move on to Delicious Party?
Absolutely, I am. Did you like this episode?
I did.
Okay.
I didn't like it as much as some mid-season PreCure reveals.
Sure. Okay.
But I mean, it was pretty good, I guess, is what I have to say. I don't really have any strong complaints or anything strong to praise.
Okay. I would say the thing for me is that I really appreciate that Amane's motivation is a promise to help people smile. And Yui's, like, catchphrase is food brings smiles. And so I really appreciate the fact that these two can form a strong emotional bond. And it's almost always that case. The main cure almost always has a connection with the secret cure or whatever, or the Sixth Ranger, and they're tied emotionally and thematically. But I like the way that they were connected in that way. I like that her brothers don't... Like, they know a bit about her because they're her brothers and seemingly only parents. We still haven't seen parents or whatever, but they're like her guardians, and they know some about her, as family knows about each other, but also there's an age gap, and also she's a girl and they're boys, so they're kind of like, she doesn't tell us much about this stuff, and, like, I think that it's cute, that, that's how real relationships work, My mom, when I was a teenager, she knew a lot about me, but there was stuff that I would never tell her, and I would prefer to tell my guy friends or whatever, so, yeah, I like that.
Absolutely.
We found out that Cure Finale is officially classified as a gold cure, rather than a lot of people were speculating that she would be purple. She had quite a bit of that. Some people were saying there's not enough purple in her outfit. It turns out they were right. And I believe that I saw AU tweet about this, Magical Girl Ayumi, that a lot of kids choose their favorite cure just based off of colors, which makes sense. I like the red cures almost always because for that same reason. And I guess... very rarely has Ayumi seen young children like the color green, which is a common discussion among PreCure people. I don't know about purple, but I think gold is an interesting color to pick for her, and I think, that's a tradition that goes back to the original season of Power Rangers, which I don't think was the first season of Sentai, but the Secret Ranger in that, at one point, I believe, was a Gold Ranger. Yeah, make them special.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I would love to... I don't think they will, because I think the original duo needs to be set apart from the rest. I think they need to be special, but I would love for another black cure.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, or another white cure. Although, arguably... Cure Rhythm was a white cure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The white and pink cure. How do I forget these things? Like, one day I can name all 50 cures, and then the next day I'm just like, oh, what's a Toei? How are they involved in the production of PreCure episodes? I don't understand.
Sometimes we record at a reasonable time on a Saturday right after watching the episodes, and sometimes we record late at night.
Well, and we finished Sweet PreCure, so I can just delete all of that out of my memory except Hummy, the best mascot that we've ever had. I will say The ubazao that was summoned this episode had a special connection to Amane because it was a fusion of two of the ubazaos that she had created, whereas last episode we kind of got like Sporky from Toy Story 4 as the ubazao. So this time we got like a meat cooking pot that also had a whisk for a hand and it had a combo attack where it basically used Meteora from Final Fantasy to make stew rain down from above. We almost thought that Rand died because of an orbital missile strike from the whisk that can shoot lasers for some reason, but then the camera zooms out and it turns out that Kokone saved her right at the last possible minute.
Kokone and Rand, the one true power couple.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now that Amane has captured Yui's attention.
We found Ran has yet another use for her Ultra Cutter Crispy Blades, or whatever they're called, Crunchy Blades. She can wrap the noodles around the enemy like a lasso and like tie up its movements. So while, while Yui was trying to save Amane, they wrapped the pot monster in her noodles, and then Kokone created a sandwich, a piece of bread that perfectly stopped him from spewing more meat lava. So
meat lava. Fantastic, yes. Also, we had Cure Finale's name spoiled for us a while ago because Twitter is just, an inescapable hell site. But at the time I was like, Cure Finale, what does that have to do with food? Her catchphrase ends in "I'll adorn the feast's finale." So like the parfait is the ultimate dish. It's the finisher.
Yeah, it's the dessert like we talked about last episode. So when Amane finishes transforming, she says, "Sweetness in full bloom, gently and gorgeously." I love the nod back to her gentle persona. Cure Finale, I'll adorn the feast's finale. We also got a great line from her after she's decided to fight, where she goes, "I won't look away anymore from my past and my dream." That's, awesome. You love to see a good boss girl rising up to take her rightful place as a Cure.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Kokone has a Live, Laugh, Love poster in her house. Amane has a Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss poster in her house.
All right. I love that so much.
Really quick, though, I'm looking at our scratch pad here, and you've got a very interesting screen cap. And, I feel like this Mari face has to go in the thumbnail because it really needs to be experienced.
It really does. If you only occasionally watch random episodes of PreCure or whatever, I don't know why you would, but watch this episode. While the girls are trying to free Amane, you see Mari-chan running, sprinting as fast as he can as dramatic music starts playing, and you go, what's happening here? And then he jumps up and he attaches himself, wraps his arms around the noodle arm of the ubazao, and he starts tickling. He just goes, "Ooh, and that partially loosens the grip on Amane. And I laughed out loud. I laughed so hard that my stomach hurt. It was such a good scene.
It was extremely unexpected.
Yeah, absolutely. This is why PreCure and some Toku, I would argue that PreCure does it a little bit more often, but why it's so good, because it mixes super serious, my punch is as strong as a volcano, with just silly stuff like this. Frickin' the Tropical Rouge X Heartcatch movie had a frickin' team butt punch combo that turned into a flower. You just wouldn't see that in every media that you watch. Christopher Nolan didn't have Batman do a butt punch. He wouldn't. He was a coward.
You know who could have done a Batman butt punch?
Who's that?
Tim Burton. Tim Burton's Batman could have done a Batman butt punch. Really quick on Max Hart. I just want to say I actually kind of enjoyed my episode for what it was. It wasn't what I would want out of PreCure. There were no colorful girls punching. But it was just a cute little camping trip. Nagisa had some nice moments of appreciating her dad.
Okay.
And I feel like her dad gets called goofy a lot. He gets kind of the dad end of the stick.
He does dad puns and stuff like that. So yeah, he had one episode to shine last season too, or maybe a couple of episodes. I liked him. I like him enough. My episode was fine. It was more of the same, is something ever going to happen in this series? Although I will say that there was actually more character interaction in this episode than in previous ones. So for an example, the episode where Honoka was doing the science fair, that was a very Honoka-centered episode, and she didn't really interact with Nagisa and Hikari that much. Or Hikaru. No, Hikari. Hikari is this one. Hikaru is the space girl. But in this episode, you actually had relationships, and you had Hikari trying to figure out how to help with interpersonal relationships, and she had a moment of empathy where she's like, wow, this must be really hard for Nagisa to talk about. And at the end of the episode, Nagisa wrote in that fancy plot journal device to basically say, hey, Hikari, I'm sorry that I worried you, thinking that I was going to move out of town and that sort of thing. So I liked it all right, but I am a stubborn old man, and I don't think that it'll be able to. It might rise above the other 2 seasons that I unequivocally dislike from PreCure, but I don't think it's going to become a great season, in my opinion.
We only have 20-ish more episodes. That's only 400-ish minutes of our life.
Yeah, absolutely. We can make it through this. It's just a matter of how many. Are we going to have pain over a long period of time and it's less pain, or are we going to have like really intense pain for just a couple of weeks as we get through this?
Absolutely. Getting toward the wrap-up of the episode here, do we have any sweet sound? We need a new one. It's not sound bites anymore, is it?
Yeah, the Doki Doki. Oh, we forgot to mention that about Doki Doki as well. So, Doki Doki is the Japanese onomatopoeia for a heart flutter, for your heart beating. And an onomatopoeia, for those who don't know, is a word that represents a sound. That represents a sound. And it also usually sounds like the sound in some way. So I think patter or pitter-patter might be one in English, but Doki Doki is that in Japanese. And it's all themed around heart, so it makes sense. In the English version, they kept the Doki Doki, so you could differentiate Glitter Force from Glitter Force Doki Doki, but the English word doesn't really have a Doki Doki word. I mean, maybe, like, ba-bump or something, but we don't use onomatopoeias like that. So instead, Maya makes an offhand reference to, that's my magic word, Doki Doki. That's like saying an English-speaking person's magic word is arigato. You know, like a word in another language that they just kind of stole because it sounded cool.
The funniest part is Rachel is like, it's a dumb word, but whatever you like. Like, check your Americentrism there.
Yeah, absolutely. We did get one soundbite, a Doki Doki soundbite, that is unrelated to anything we've talked about today. As we mentioned before, magical girl Ayumi has been going through our backlog, and we started talking about whether there was any rhyme or reason behind the names of the evil generals in Tropical Rouge. I honestly don't remember how it came up, but we were talking about the names, and they pointed out that Shrimp Baby, Elda or Elday, we on this podcast had a discussion about what we were going to call her, but apparently that name is a play off of Elder, probably a pun based off of the fact that she's the youngest and she doesn't want to grow up. So Toei went with Elday, but the fandom largely went with Elda.
I remember we argued about her name, and I said, well, I'm going to call her X because that's what I like better. And I can't remember. I think it was Elda. Elday.
I think you were Elday, and I liked Elda because it sounded a bit like Zelda.
Yeah.
And we've been told that the wiki is not a good place to go to get information. I'm not sure where to go to get good information, so for now, I will probably make a note that, hey, I got this off of the fandom wiki. It could be wrong, though.
Hey, man. Hey. I guess the best place to go to get information is Magical Girl AU.
They're like our crystal ball. We can just peer inside of their mind and get the answers we seek.
Absolutely.
Every once in a while, we might have to answer a couple of riddles. So everyone start reading up on your puns and your deep thoughts.
Every once in a while, you'll peer into her mind and you'll see Sailor Moon and you'll go, oh God, I didn't study for this test!
And that has been...
Wait, do we have any crack theories to send us out?
Well, what we have episode 19's title of Delicious Party, which is called Decoration, Presents for Her Brothers.
So she has now fully embraced the parfait lifestyle. She's wearing fluffy layered skirts. She's making people smile. She's gonna make her brothers smile. So I think she tries to make the world's biggest parfaits. but the parfaits are too big for her to move. And the food moral of this episode, the grandmotherly advice is, sometimes a bite is all you need of something delicious.
And that has been your doot final thought. Outro goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to Doki Doki. Trace a little heart pattern on the palm of your hand. It's a good luck charm, and it will summon mothers.
Really quick, Mana's catchphrase is, I'll make your heart race, and I like that a lot.
It's great.
Thank you all for joining us for another delicious plateful of
Cure of the What Now.
Please take a moment to rate and review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Or if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment, a like, or lick that subscribe bell so you know when the new episodes are going up.
Did you just say lick it?
Well, yeah, we're baking delicious foods. It's a delicious party.
Anyway, you can find me on Twitter at PirateGhostHost. Please don't lick me.
Can you even lick a ghost? I'm on Twitter at Cotwin_pod.
KOTWN_pod.
Absolutely. And as always, the Discord link is in the Twitter bio and also in the YouTube description.
Come join us for weekly discussions, streams, and all of the PreCure your heart can handle. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yum. Or no, I'm full!